Good morning. My name is Brandy, and this is the Obsessed with You, EWE, knitting podcast. This is my first podcast, and at the moment, this is technically a test run just to see how I do. I don't want to sound too nervous. My voice gets a little quivery when I'm nervous. But it's been something I've been thinking about doing for a really long time now. Well, a few months anyway. I've been on a couple of episodes of another podcast that a friend of mine does, Sydney Reads Everything. The first podcast I did with her I thought came out really well. The second one, another friend of ours joined us, and I feel kind of bad because I was like, yeah, let's use this room, and the lighting was horrible, and then we had some technical difficulties with the camera and the computer that we were using to shoot the video. So I don't know how many people actually watched that one. But anyway, this is my first one on my own. Again, my name is Brandy. On Ravelry, I am M. Weasley. And on Instagram, I am Abby and Bella's mom. ABYNBLASMOM. Those are my two daughters, Abby and Bella, and I just like to use that little abbreviation for my name on there, on some places. It's also my email address, abbyandbellasmom@gmail.com, if anyone would like to say hi. I did take show notes, just so that I can hopefully keep myself on track. So if you notice me looking down every so often, it's just to look at my notes that I have sitting here on my laptop. I'm not very computer savvy, so unless I get some assistance from my daughters, there probably won't be any show notes. And I will try very hard to stop saying I will be as descriptive as I can with the things that I talk about, whether it's my whips, my FOs, or my stash enhancement. So let's get started. Some of my spinning fiber just fell off the stool that I have it all sitting on precariously. Anyway, moving on. I guess the first thing I want to start with is what really inspired me to want to do a podcast. And I would have to say that would be the other podcasts that I watch. I do have a whole list of favorites, the ones that I have subscribed to, the ones that I get excited to watch. When I see notifications on Instagram that they've put up a new podcast, it really does brighten my day. If I happen to be on lunch at work and scrolling through and I see that, I know when I get home I'm going to have something nice and relaxing to watch after supper when everything is kind of calmed down for the evening. So let's start with my favorite podcasts. These are in no particular order, as best as possible. But probably the first few ones that I say are probably my most favorite, the ones that I truly get excited for. So the first one on my list is The Bakery Bears, Dan and Kay Jones. I've even gone so far as to become a patron of their podcast. I really, really enjoy watching them. My best friend even watches them, and she's not a knitter, she's a baker. But she enjoys their production, what they do with their podcast. It's not just knitting, it's history, adventure, biscuit banter. That's a favorite. So yeah, I think actually my best friend is a patron of their podcast as well. So thank you so much, Dan and Kay, for all that you do. You are truly wonderful and inspiring. One of my other favorite podcasts, of course, Little Bobbins. I adore Danny and Little Bobbin and Teddy Pom Pom. I Her podcast is the one that I really, really enjoy watching in the evening. She has a very soft voice. It's very easy to listen to, and it's relaxing, and it just really helps me calm down for the evening. That's not to say that I won't watch The Grocery Girls, because I do love The Grocery Girls. Hi, Jody. Hi, Tracy. Before I go to bed. But that's usually if I don't have to get up and go to work the next morning. But again, I love all these podcasts. They show you all sorts of different things that you otherwise wouldn't necessarily get to see if you didn't watch them. I learn a lot about different yarns, different patterns and designers, different websites for purchasing yarn, whether it's commercial or indie dyed. I also learn about other podcasts, which lengthens my list of podcasts that I enjoy watching. So thank you, everyone. Another one of my podcasts that I really enjoy watching, however, she doesn't do them very often, and I can totally understand. She is a very busy woman with her own wool company now. And that would be the lovely Susan B. Anderson. She is my idol, and I love her. And I do love her wool as well from Barrett Wool Co. I do have a tendency to, with some of my favorite podcasts, to go back and rewatch them. I think I'm currently rewatching Bakery Bear episodes and Little Bobbin episodes. I like to watch them while I'm cooking or while I'm cleaning. Later this afternoon, I'll probably watch some of them while I'm folding a ridiculous mountain of laundry, my least favorite house chore, along with dusting. But let's not talk about that. Some of my other favorite podcasts that I do enjoy watching, I said The Grocery Girls. I really like The Knitting Expat with Mina. I like The Sockmatician with Nathan, Molly of a Homespun House, Amber with the Yarn Hoarder podcast. And I've recently started watching The Knitting Pipeline. I know she does an audio podcast, and I've listened to that a couple of times, but mostly I've been watching the extras that she does in a video format, and I'm really enjoying that as well. All right. I'm sure I'm watching more podcasts than that. Again, the ones that I really enjoy watching, if they mention another podcast that they really enjoy, I'll go and I'll check it out and see if it's something that I might like to add to my list. I have watched a couple of new ones, but I haven't watched enough of them yet to know if this is something that I really want to keep up with. So those are my ones that I go to every single time, the ones that I've just mentioned. So let's move on, because I really am trying very hard to not have this be a super lengthy podcast, mainly because I do have other things that unfortunately must get done. I'm speaking of housework. Anyway, so next thing on my list is my whips. I have roughly about 3 whips, so I'll just go over those quickly. And again, I will try to give as much detail about each one as I can. Okay? So the first one, which has kind of been an ongoing thing, last Christmas I decided to knit sweaters for my husband and my 2 daughters. And then I was like, yeah, sure, let's do another one for the best friend. Hers I could wait till after Christmas to do. She is the most patient of people, and she really didn't mind not having it in time for Christmas. I got the 3 done for my family in time for Christmas, one of which included a fisherman-style cabled sweater for my 6'2" husband. Yeah, that one took a little bit of time, but not as much as I thought it was going to. That was the Scottish Ale pattern by Cheryl, I'm going to say her last name wrong, Beckerich. I believe it is. It was a free pattern. I signed up for her newsletter, and yeah. So he's only worn it a couple of times because, again, I only knit it just this past Christmas. So there really wasn't tons of opportunity, but I'm really hoping he's going to put it to some good use this year as it is starting to get cold here. I do live in New England, Maine specifically. This temperature this morning when I got up was a whopping 29 degrees. My back lawn was all frosted over. I could see my breath when I let the dog out. It was ridiculous. And I don't think it's supposed to get out of the 50s today. So, autumn has arrived in New England, and not just for the lovely foliage colors. Anyway, rambling, sorry. My first WIP is for my best friend. It is a sweater. I am knitting her, it's actually the sweater right here on the cover, if you can see that. This is the Celtic Journey collection from Knit Picks. I knit her another sweater, I think it was last year. Yeah, earlier last year I did. I knit her the Circlet cardigan, which was another Knit Picks one. Very detailed, lots of cables, twisted stitches, that kind of stuff in the pattern. But she was scrolling through Knit Picks with me because she loves knitted things. So she buys the yarn and I knit them for her. What is a best friend for, right? So anyway, we were scrolling through Knit Picks one afternoon and she saw this particular sweater pattern and fell in love with it. And of course I said, yes, you buy the yarn, I'll knit the sweater. So this is called the Daella cardigan, D-A-E-L-L-A. Let me just check that spelling really quick. D-E-A-L-L-A cardigan. There's a lot of stocking stitch, but then there are these beautiful cables right here that run. This one runs around the waist, and then it runs up the front, and then if you notice, there's a little bit on the wrists there. And if I can quickly find a photo, there is a beautiful medallion on the back. Yes, here. Let's see if I can show this without too much pattern mumbo jumbo. Pull the book back. Yeah, there we go. Yeah, glare. So there's this beautiful medallion on the back, and at the moment I am almost to the point where I have to take some stitches off and put them either on waste yarn or a stitch holder for that medallion section. So again, almost there. The yarn that I'm using with my best friend, and just, you know, for washing and stuff like that, we try to be a little budget conscious. And but that's not to say that the yarn we're using is bad, because it's not. For an acrylic yarn, I think it's lovely. And it's what I knit her other sweater out of, and it's holding up incredibly well. The yarn I'm speaking of is the Knit Picks Brava. I think I have a ball band here, right here. Knit Picks Brava. For this one, it is in the worsted weight, and the colorway is called Tide Pool. Another thing to know about my best friend: one, her name is Rose, and two, she loves green. Lots of different shades of green. So this is what I have. Ooh, looks like a hot mess at the moment so far. I have done, well, this is the cabled waistband, so to speak, and I have done the bottom bit with the increases. This is doing, over here is the front section, and then we have the back section, and then the other front section, and then down at the sides, of course, will be another one of these beautiful cabled sections. So again, I am working my way up the back here. I've done I've done 3 of the increases so far, and I have one more to go, and something about go for so many inches, and then I have to divide the stitches off for the section that's going to have the medallion. So anyway, oh, don't lose any stitches. I am knitting this on a US size 7, which is a 4.5 millimeter Knit Picks circular needle. A lot of my needles are Knit Picks. I really like their needles. I generally go for the nickel plated needles. I do like a metal needle. I like the slipperiness of it, and I like the pointiness of it. I do have one of their needles in a wood. I think is it right here beside me somewhere? Anyway, it's wee though. It's one of the smaller sizes. It's under my coffee cup. Got a little bit of clutter going on, peeps. No worries. Yeah, so I do have this beautiful one here. I've used it. I can't remember what I was knitting, but I did use it, and I really didn't mind it. It did. The needles are quite smooth, so the yarn did move well. I wish I could remember what I knit on it, but I can't remember. Oh well, not a big deal. Not what I'm talking about right now. Today, right now, whips. So anyway, this is my current whip. I just got into my 3rd skein. I think we bought like 10 or 12 skeins. I always err on the side of caution. A little extra is better than not enough. I ran into that problem once before, and I don't ever want to do it again. And I've always been that way with fabric as well. If a pattern says 4 1/4 yards, I'm going to buy at least 4 1/2. A little bit extra, not a problem. You can work it into something else. So anyway, this is right in here. I do like to make project bags, not to sell. I just like to make them. I do sew. I have always sewn. It's in my family. It's kind of in my blood. My mother and my aunt are both professional seamstresses. They've both done years and years and years of costuming for one of our local opera houses, well, in the town where I grew up. So anyway, sewing is in my blood. I do enjoy it. However, it is not my obsession. That's knitting. So anyway, this is just a cute little, well, it's not little. This is one of my bigger bags. Little sheepy bag. But see, it's quite large, quite roomy. I do like to fold this down while I'm sitting in my chair knitting. Just kind of makes it like a bowl. Makes it easier to access the yarn, and it kind of helps the bag stand up. I did line this with interfacing, but again, the fold over just helps. And the tallness of it means I'm going to have plenty of room to throw in a couple extra skeins, my little notions bag, and of course the bulk of the sweater. So anyway, there's that. I have this cute little, if you can see it, whoa, this little cupcake progress keeper. I was trying to keep it on the sweater and, you know, move it as you do with the progress keeper while I was knitting. However, it's quite heavy. It is like a little metal, so it's got some weight, and it was really pulling on the stitch that I hooked it onto, and I didn't want to worry about it causing a problem with my knitting. So I just decided, no, I will just hang it on the project bag for my bestie, because again, it's a cupcake because she's a baker. Anyway, that is whip number 1. Whip number 2, right here. This is just in one of my Knit Picks cotton, organic cotton project bags. I love it. Coffee, knit, sleep, repeat. Because come on, we all love that. This is the Antler Toque or Antler Hat by Tin Can Knits. I am knitting this, pardon me, as part of the Grocery Girls Tin Can Knits Knit Along. I am knitting this out of Knit Picks again because I love their yarn. I've worked with it a lot. It was kind of initially my big go-to. I do still purchase from them. I haven't in a while though. Not sure why. but I do really, really love their yarn. I've used many different types of their yarn, and it's affordable along with their notions and things like that. But it really is, I find it to be a very good quality yarn. So no complaints from me. Anyway, this I am doing with Knit Picks Wool of the Andes in the Fjord Heather colorway. Let me stick that back in there. And as you can see, I'm not very far along. I've just, I've got my ribbing, and you can see, or maybe you can see better on this side. No, I guess it's the same. I've started the antler pattern here. I was taking this to work on my lunch break. And then, why did I stop? Oh, I have a friend's birthday coming up. That's one of my other whips. And it's something, kind of a trio of things that I'm doing for myself, my best friend, and another really good friend of mine. So I'll show you that in a couple of minutes. So anyway, this is where I'm at with this. Again, I am using Knit Picks circulars. This is a size 6 US or 4mm needle with a pretty green cable. These cables are okay. I find that I have different ones from Knit Picks. Some of them are, they look and they feel thicker than some of the other ones. Some of the other ones are thinner and they're a bit more flexible. It's whatever. I don't care. Sometimes, depending on what I'm doing or my mood, I get a little irritated with them, but it's nothing to get too worked up about. Anyway, so that is just in here. I have two, I hand-balled the two skeins of this that I have. My ball winder and I, we're fighting. It's not my friend right now, so I'm fine with hand balling. It's what I did before I got the ball winder. I'm not picky. So anyway, hand balled those. I have two skeins. I know it's going to be plenty, so I'll be happy to see that done. It may be a gift. I'm not 100% sure. Actually, yes, I am. It will be a gift. I'm not a big hat person. It does weird things. I always have to have bangs and wearing a hat on the back. I just don't. Okay? Okay, so third whip. Again, this is in another bag that I made. This is my poppy bag. I love poppies. I think they're such a pretty little flower. And I'm quite partial to the red ones. So, anyway. Oh, and look, I fold this one down. Poppies on the inside. I love it. I love it. Again, this one's lined with interfacing. I've just got the drawstring on this one where the sheepy one had a zipper. This is just a drawstring, and I just used some ribbon. It's fine. It's just for me. But I do love it. So, anyway, in here, what I am working on, and this, I think this is why I stopped doing the antler hat, is because I wanted to get these done hopefully in time for my friend's birthday, which is the same day as mine. Somewhere towards the beginning of November. Anyway, I'm just making, and this is the thing that's kind of a trio for myself, my best friend Rose, and of course my good friend Janie Jane. Just some little ankle socks. This is a West Yorkshire Spinners yarn. Again, I have hand wound this. This is their signature 4-ply in the Hollyberry colorway. I don't know what I did with the ball band. What did I do with it? I don't know. I know it's not in this bag at the moment. That's all right. Not a big hoo-ha. Anyway, so I know this has about 35% BFL, Blueface Leicester, and I think it is incredibly soft. I've knit other socks with this, not this same colorway, but with this another one of their signature 4-plies, and I will show you those in a couple of minutes. And I like it. I find it to be very soft, and I think they'll be pretty good wearing. We'll see. Anyway, and it smells good and sheepy. Oh my gosh, okay? I am obsessed with knitting and yarn, and I love to smell yarn. I think that's such a lovely smell. Anyway, so this is the, as you can see, I just have the cuff so far, and I am doing an Eye of Partridge heel flap. And for that, I'm doing alternate color heels and toes, just so that I know that I'm going to have enough out of this 100-gram skein of the West Yorkshire Spinners to make 3 pair of ankle biter socks, or ankle socks, whatever you want to call them. So I am using just some plain, they call it natural, Knit Picks Stroll for my heels and toes. I want to say this is a superwash, but I'm not 100% sure. But something that I started doing back when I first decided to start knitting socks, as recommended to me by a friend who's a far more phenomenal knitter than I am. I don't even consider myself phenomenal. Her knitting is gorgeous. Anyway, this stuff, woolly nylon. I think you're technically supposed to use it with sergers. But it's super thin, as you can see. Let's see, there we go. And we just hold it with, and it's just, we pretty much just add it in for heels and toes, just for a little bit of extra strength, even though a good majority of yarn and wool has nylon in it. We just like that tiny, just that little bit of reassurance, that little bit of extra sturdiness, so that we don't blow out our heels and toes. So anyway, I have this in a bunch of colors. She has it in a bunch of colors. We swap back and forth depending on who needs what color. Anyway, so that is another whip. Oh, I forgot to say, I am knitting these little socks on some ChiaoGoo lace 2.25 millimeter size 1 needles. I love these needles. Oh my word. They are ridiculously, let's see if you can see that point. Oh my gosh, the point on that is lethal. It truly is. But I love it. With the small size of the needle and the small stitches, this little point gets right in there. And I am such a fan. I have another set that I have going with some more socks. And I like the cable. The cable is nice. It's got like a metal core inside, but it's still quite flexible, and I really enjoy it. So, super sharp. I have to be careful. I've actually kind of got these just kind of down into the center of that Knit Pick Stroll, just so they don't poke a hole in my bag. I have made DPN cases. I made a couple of them this past holiday season, but I did gift them to some of the ladies at my knitting group that I go to every Thursday. I do think I want to make some more. I know you can use them for circulars. Just pop them in, snap them shut, good to go. I just haven't gotten around to it. I have a whole to-do list of sewing projects that I want to get done. But again, my knitting, it takes over. But that's okay. Anyway, so moving on. I feel like, oh, I was going to show you those other ones. It's kind of in my FOs, even though they're FO/whip. So, I do have other works in progress that I have going. Some of them are holiday items, but again, I want to try to keep this my first podcast. I don't want it to drag on and be movie length. Not that I mind the long ones out there, fellow podcasters. They're nice, but, you know, just initially, I don't even know if people are going to watch this. And if they do, if they're going to like it. So, I don't want to bore them to death with a super long first time episode. If people like it and they want to keep watching, well, I might try to, you know, carry on a little bit longer. Anyway, so I do have other whips on my needles. There are some Christmas things that I have going for some family members, but I'll talk about those later. Anyway, okay, moving on, and I just realized one of them, the first one on my list, I don't even have right here with me. So I'll have to save that one for next time. It is an FO that I did show on my friend's podcast that I was on. I can tell you just a quick little bit without showing them to you. They are, they're the Staghorn mittens. It's a Staghorn pattern. It is practically identical to Tin Can Knit's antler pattern. I just happened to have that same pattern in a book, one of my first knitting books that I purchased. So I didn't have to go out and buy the pattern. I had to modify it just a tiny bit because the pattern was actually for some of the mittens that have a little fold back. So you can have your fingers free or you can cover them up. And I really didn't want to do it that way. So I just knit them like a regular pair of mittens. And I've knit mittens before, so that wasn't a big hoo-ha for me to do. Anyway, moving on. My next finished object, and I call it finished because for the most part it is. There's just a couple of things that I have to do to it. It has a drawstring that I need to do for it, and I have to weave in my ends and give it a light blocking. So, but anyway, this is it. I am keeping this. Look at that! Alpaca! This is a Madder Root bag. I don't know if you can see the tag right there. Madder Root. I picked this bag up not this past fair, but last year, Common Ground Fair 2016. I picked it up there. The Common Ground Fair is a local agricultural fair put on by an organization called MOFGA, Maine Organic Farmers and Growers Association. It is a wonderful fair. I really love it. I love seeing the animals and all the local makers of all different things. It's really a fun fair to go to, and it's kind of become an annual tradition for myself, my daughters, and my best friend to go to every year. So anyway, I didn't get a bag from them this year. I don't know why. But in here I have the Whitestone Ridge Cowl. It was a pattern from Tolt. So again, this is not quite 100% finished, but enough for me to say, yes, this is an FO. So here it is. You can see the little holes right here for the drawstring. This is a birthday present for my mother-in-law. Shh, I hope she's not watching. She won't be. It's not her thing. Anyway, I am knitting this out of some yarn that I got at a tent sale. This is Shokay. I hope I'm pronouncing that right. S-H-O-K-A-Y. This is pure yak down. It's a 100-gram ball, or it was a hank, at 164 yards. This is their tag. You can see that. Yeah. The colorway is Jade. It's pretty green. I did have 2 hanks of this. I hand wound them both up so that they'd just be ready to go. I wouldn't have to stop and go get the second one. And this is how much I have of it. No, I did not weigh this. I do have a little pocket scale, and the thought literally just popped into my head. So I'm not sure how much is here. I'd say there's probably more than half of that second hank left. Again, they were 164 yard hanks. So anyway, this was fun. I knit it on whatever size needles the pattern called for. The yak is incredibly, incredibly soft. And I just thought, if it's going to be up around your neck and rubbing under your chin, amazing. So I really hope she likes it. And yeah, it was fun. Slight little modification here where I had to fold over to kind of make the casing. It was supposed to have so like it looked just straight knit all the way down. And when you had to put those, I had to do a provisional cast on. That was the thing. And when I had to put those live stitches onto a second needle, somehow I got them on the wrong side, so it ended up coming out and giving me a purl bump. You know what? I don't care. I still think it looks pretty. My best friend said, don't worry about it. Nobody's going to know. But now, any of you watching, you'll know. We all make modifications, right? To our knitting once in a while. Not a big deal. Anyway, there is that one. So the other finished object that I have is the one that I said was kind of a finished object, but still kind of a work in progress as well. And I am keeping this in my absolute favorite project bag. Ta-da! It's my Little Bobbins project bag. I love this bag. It is an absolute treasure for me to have one of these. This is one of the project bags. Let's see if I can. Yeah, there it is. This is one of the project bags that Danny did with her mom, Liz. Liz did this beautiful embroidered panel here, and then Danny did the rest of the bag. She does excellent work. Her project bags are spot on perfect, in my opinion. And Liz's embroidery is inspiring. I've actually gone to one of my local craft stores and picked up embroidery floss, and there are others out there that are doing embroidery. I know Susan B. Anderson likes to do little samplers and things like that, and that, again, she inspires me all the time. So I might do a little dabbling. I don't know yet. Again, knitting really does rule my world right now. It might be something for New Year to do some embroidery. I can actually try to make it one of my projects on my to-do list, so it's not just knitting. But we'll see. We'll see. But I really do love the work that goes into these bags. I've tried to get another one, but Danny is super popular and her bags sell like hotcakes. So, and then I've got to deal with the time change between England and America. So I usually find myself having to pull myself aside at work and run into the break room and say, I'll be right back. I need to go buy something from England. But my coworkers know how obsessed I am with knitting, so they understand. Anyway, so in here, as I babble on about this fabulous bag, can't say enough good things about it. In here, I have 2 finished pairs of socks and one that's still a work in progress. Like the little ankle socks that I'm doing, that I've started for my friend because her birthday's coming up, and then there'll be matching pairs for myself and my best friend. I am doing what I like to call my mom and daughter collection socks. They're nothing fancy. Vanilla socks. The only snazziness, I guess, would be I like to do the Eye of Partridge heel. I like the feel of it and the look of the texture that it has. So that's what I've done there. I do still have to weave in ends and block these, but I was going to do them all at the same time. So anyway, I am, again, using a skein of West Yorkshire Spinners yarn. See if I can get the... Nope, that's not it. There it is. The tag out, it doesn't look any different than the other one. But this is the Wood Pigeon colorway. I think the first time I saw the Wood Pigeon colorway was from Mina, the knitting expat. I was watching her podcast and she was knitting with it, or was going to knit with it, and I just thought, oh my gosh, that is so beautiful. Red is my favorite color, but my second favorite color is purple. I don't know if you could guess, my purple scarf, my purple shirt, but I do love purple. So this colorway just, oh, I said, yes, I need to have some of that. So anyway, I have done some, let me tuck this little end in so it's not super obvious. I have done just some little ankle socks. These ones, again, I did alternate color heels and toes. These ones have the natural Knit Pick Stroll These are for my youngest daughter. I figured if we were all going to have matching socks so that nobody's like, oh no, those ones are mine, because our feet are all pretty much the same size. I figured if I gave us different colored heels and toes, we would all know whose socks are whose, and there wouldn't be any arguing, or this one feels a little small, but this one I know is mine. Anyway, so my youngest daughter, hers have the natural heel and toe, and my older daughter, let me tuck those in so they don't just blow out there. These ones have, again, Knit Pick Stroll, but this is, I think this is the Dove Heather. I know it's not the tweed. When I was first writing my notes, I thought it was tweed, and I had to scribble that out because I knew there weren't any flecks of tweed in there. But hers have the gray. I've knit her other socks with this yarn, which is why I have it. So I thought, yeah, she'll like that. And of course, it goes well with the yarn. And again, Eye of Partridge heel flap, which I do enjoy doing. So there's that. And the whip aspect of this project is, of course, mine. Lots more ends here. So I was going to use, going with the colors in this yarn, I was going to do my heels and toes in a pretty blue. I have this really pretty, I can't remember the exact color name of it. It's a Quince & Co. yarn. Quince & Co. is local to me as far as it is a Maine yarn company. And I really do love them. And again, I heard about them through Susan B. Anderson. I love her. Anyway, and I had started the heel flap in that. It wasn't right. It was still a fingering weight yarn, but it was thicker and plumper and squishier. And I just thought it would be kind of uncomfortable if the heel and the toe of my sock were thicker feeling in my shoe. And I hadn't gotten very far, and I knew straight away that no, this wasn't going to work. So I just pulled it out and decided that my socks would have, this is the Dove Heather, and I'm pretty sure that is the colorway, but I've got a ball band for it somewhere, probably in my room in my stash, but I'm pretty sure it's Dove Heather. Mine are going to have the gray heels, and then they will have the natural colored toe. So that will be how we differentiate mom's socks from daughter's socks. So anyway, this has been fun. It's kind of just, on the side, if I've got just a little bit of time to knit, like while I'm cooking supper, or if I'm waiting to pick my daughter up from an after-school activity, riding in the car. I love car knitting whenever we go on family trips. My husband always drives. He always has. So that leaves me loads of time for knitting. I do sometimes take a book because I like to read in the car as well. But of course, obsessed with knitting. I will pick up the knitting first. So anyway, that is in here. I'm really confident that I'm going to have enough out of this 100-gram skein. Whoop, there's a button stuck in there. We won't show that. I did use my ball winder for this, and it was nice and pretty. But again, as we all know, if we use a ball winder, pulling from the center, the cake gets a little after a while. So this is how it is. But again, I'm on the foot. I think yes, I know I'm done with the gusset stitches. I finished those. Oh, look, my little progress keeper. Or not my progress keeper. It's a stitch marker right there that I made. It's a little, well, I bought it and just put it together. It's a little teacup. I thought it was cute, and I do love tea. Anyway, I'm very confident that I'm going to have plenty of this to finish this sock, and of course get through the second one. And then anything extra, I have plans for it. So something from Kay Jones, a pattern she designed, and I'm really looking forward to it. Anyway, so that is living in my Little Bobbins project bag. Thank you, Danny. You are an inspiration. And your knitting and your yarn color choices are absolutely gorgeous. Absolutely gorgeous. And all these podcasts that I watch, they are all so truly inspiring to me. The other day I had finished watching a patron-only podcast of the Bakery Bears. It was the first one I was able to catch live. So much fun. Oh my goodness. It was so much fun to interact with Dan and Kay a little bit, and the other patrons who were watching. You can kind of watch the podcast, but then kind of down the side of your screen, you can type and you can see the questions and comments that other patrons are saying and asking, and you can ask questions and they'll even answer them on the podcast. And it was kind of fun to hear my name come up when I hopped on, and the little kind of chit chat back and forth with Kay, and they did answer my question that I had submitted to them. I thought it was fun. So anyway, it's so inspiring. Afterward, I wanted to cast on at least 3 new projects, which I didn't allow myself to do, only because I've got these other things that I really, really need to get done. The socks for my friend, who again, her birthday's coming up the first part of November because we have the same birthday. The sweater for my friend, I do want to get that done because again, she's been waiting almost a year for that sweater, but she's so patient. She's not in any rush. I do have to tell you, she has a basket in my room, in my stash, of the yarn that she's purchased for things. We even have a list of what each sock, or not sock, what each yarn is for. A lot of it is for socks. And I really want to be able to tackle that stuff for her, because I don't want her to think that, I'm only knitting for myself, because let's face it, I'm not. It's kind of a 50-50 split, or maybe a 60-40. I do enjoy knitting for other people, and for a while that was kind of all I was doing, and I was, ooh, I really like this pattern. Ooh, I'd like to knit this for myself, and I wasn't. So I finally just had to put my foot down with myself and say, you need to knit for yourself. So I work in a few projects for myself, along with all the projects for friends and family. I love it. I'm obsessed. Yes. So anyway, I'm rambling yet again. Next little segment, stash enhancement. Oh my gosh. Confession. Hi, my name is Brandy, and I love buying yarn. I love it. I could spend all day in the knit shop or looking at yarn online. Oh my goodness. I don't even need to have a project in mind. If it's pretty, I want it. But a lot of us do, right? So anyway, I have some yarn that I can't show you because I've just recently ordered it and it hasn't arrived yet. But I will tell you about it really quick here at the beginning. The Regia, or Regia, however you want to pronounce it, Arnie and Carlos line is very popular in my house. Well, my daughter has a pair of socks that I knit for her out of some Arnie and Carlos fall night or autumn night colorway. I'd purchased a couple of 50-gram skeins, and I did the alternate color heels, cuffs, and toes on those because they were a taller sock, not just an ankle sock. And shockingly, I got an entire pair of socks out of one 50-gram skein of yarn. Shut up. I know, right? And I had another 50-gram skein. Super excited. I could get 2 pairs of socks. Woo! Anyway, so she loves them. I literally have to take them off her feet myself in order to wash them. She will wear them all day, every day, for days at a time. even in the summer. She loves them. And we've been doing some renovations to our house, and we've recently ripped out all the nasty carpet in our living room, and we've put in beautiful laminate wood floors. So of course now we're all keeping slippers or socks on our feet. So of course we're all wearing wool socks that I've knit. And those are her go-to socks. She has others. She has quite a few pair of others, but those are her go-to socks. So I recently ordered from Wool Warehouse 3 more skeins. These are 100-gram skeins this time, not 50s, of some Arnie and Carlos. This is probably their, I guess maybe it's their first edition line. I know that there have been other ones, but I really like these ones. I like the Fair Isle look that they have when you knit them up, as opposed to kind of the funkier designs of, I think it's a Perfect, Regia Perfect Arnie and Carlos ones. Not that those are bad. I know a lot of people like those, and I'm not knocking them. I'm just saying in my house we prefer the Fair Isle look ones. So anyway, excuse me for one quick second. My mouth is getting incredibly dry. I need a sip of my coffee. It's autumn, so we're drinking pumpkin spice a little bit here and there, mixed in with my all-time favorite, blueberry cobbler. Love it so much. And my husband is a phenomenal coffee maker, so I don't need to buy Dunkin' Donuts or Tim Hortons or Starbucks. Nope, I have the best coffee right at home. Anyway, moving on. So I'm waiting for those to come. I believe when I checked my email, they had shipped. So I'm very excited about that. Hoping those will get here sometime maybe next week or the beginning of the week after. But I'm thinking probably by the end of next week. Packages coming from the UK get to America super fast. I've ordered stuff from over there, and literally from the time I get the email that tells me that it has shipped, I haven't waited more than 2 weeks. Usually it's like a week and a half, and I have my stuff. Now, on the flip side of that, I sent a package to England because I had to send it to someone very special. Miss Danny of Little Bobbins. I sent her a package. I couldn't help myself. And I think she really liked it. Anyway, it took a month, a whole entire month, from the time I sent it till the time she got it. I had to send her a message and say, I'm really worried that this isn't going to get to you. I wrote your address down exactly as it was on your return label. And she said, no, the post here is just incredibly slow. So I was so relieved when she messaged me to say that she'd received the package. But it was an entire month. Whoa. Anyway, so Arnie and Carlos yarn on its way. Very excited to get it. I believe I know one of the colorways was called Twilight. It was kind of a really pretty kind of orangey color. Susan B. Anderson knit some socks in it. And yes, she inspired me to buy it. I do have some Arnie and Carlos. I don't know what the colorway name is, but I know the number, and so does my best friend. 3657. I saw it on one of Susan's podcasts. Oh my gosh. Love it. I have that in my stash. I will knit myself some socks with it, but I'm kind of saving it. I don't know why, but I'm kind of saving it. But anyway, 3657. My best friend knows that number still. We looked for it all summer long one time. Anyway, the other yarn that is making its way to me is for my birthday. The Cozy Knitter was doing an update this past Friday. Friday the 13th. And she had this one colorway. I think the first time I saw it was when I was watching Molly of the Homespun House. She was knitting some socks in it, and oh, I just fell in love. It was so pretty. And I really want to build a good, not that I would only wear them during the holidays, but I would like to have a nice selection of holiday socks. But it's the Gingerbread House colorway. Oh, it's so pretty. It's so pretty. And it just makes me think of the holidays. And anyway, the Cozy Knitter was doing a shop update, and I told my husband that's what I wanted for my birthday. He was not surprised whatsoever that I would want yarn. He just asked me to remember about all the yarn that I have in my stash. And if there was any that I didn't want that I could kind of give away or just get it out of the house. Anyway, I did kindly remind him that I have been sharing some of my stash, and I've also been knitting from stash. So anyway, he still is going to buy me yarn. We've been married long enough. He just knows. Happy wife, happy life. Anyway, moving on. So I am patiently waiting to receive my birthday yarn. And yes, I will leave it alone until my birthday if it comes before. But I did get some of the gingerbread house. And I believe I got the glitz one, so it will have some stellina in it, so it will be sparkly. I'm 70% sure that I'm going to knit socks with it, but part of me thinks maybe not. Maybe a cowl. I think it's going to depend on the softness of the yarn. I've never purchased her yarn before, so I have no idea exactly how soft it is, but I'm really hoping, well, it doesn't matter. I'm either going to knit, my 30% thought is a cowl, but my 70% thought is socks. So we'll see. The yarn that I do have, and I really kind of want to wrap this up because I just looked down at the timekeeper on this and I'm approaching an hour. Anyway, so this last little bit will be semi-quick. Anyway, in the order that I did receive these next few things, I purchased, I love all of these different inspired colorways. The Harry Potter, the Jane Austen, they're just so pretty. And I am a huge Harry Potter fan. I adore Jane Austen. So if I can get my hands on some of these yarns, I'm going to do my darndest to try and get them. I did get a hold of a Harry Potter inspired yarn from Nora George Yarns. Don't be surprised. It sparkles. This colorway is called Sybil Trelawney. This is on the Gold Sparkle sock base, which is 75% superwash merino, 20% nylon, and 5% gold stellina. Are you ready for this? It's beautiful. Ta-da! Oh, it's looking kind of blue, but trust me, people, this is purple. I really struggled this morning to find a spot in my house where the lighting wasn't going to just totally wash me out and make me look like one of the dead, but that would also show the yarn in a good light. So if I do actually get around to another podcast, I may not be in this exact location. I'm going to test different spots to see what will be good. But anyway, this is a gorgeous shade. It's quite tonal of purple, and I love it. I think it's absolutely beautiful. It says 400 meters. I know other countries use different units of measurement, and that's fine. And let's face it, knitters, couldn't we just have one unit of measure for yarn, knitting needles? I think Stephanie Pearl McPhee mentioned it at Knit's End, which I love that. I have the actual book and the audio. I've been listening to it in my car. She's fabulous. Anyway, so 400 meters, I didn't do the math to know what that computes to in yards. It's probably a little more, a little less. I don't know. I'm thinking a shawl or with another color in a shawl, but that's probably for next year. project, but it's beautiful and I love it. And the packaging that it came in was so cool. It was this pretty gold and white polka dotted mailing envelope, and she sent me this cute little stitch marker. I can't speak anymore. That's a sign that this is getting too long. There was a little sweet in there and a cute little postcard, which I love how all these indie dyers are packaging up their yarn. It really makes a special postal delivery to open it up and see the prettiness inside and the care that goes into not just the dyeing of the yarn, but even the packaging. It's just so pretty. Anyway, my second one that I got, again, beautiful packaging, was from Hedgerow Yarns. These are too much. They really are. I just like to sit and look at them. They're so pretty. These are some of her skinny minis with silver sparkle. Let's see if I hold them here, if the colors will come through a little better. These are just, I think there's 5 20-gram minis here, and she's clipped on this adorable little stitch marker, which I thought was so sweet. Totally didn't expect that. But yeah, these are super pretty, and they're nice and soft and squishy, and they smell good. They have the they smell like lavender, because again, in with the pretty wrappings, which I can show you the little, look at this beautiful little tissue paper wrapping that she put it in. Oh, and when I got my excuse me, my project bag from Danny, again, beautiful tissue paper that these items are wrapped in. I think it's so special. Anyway, the Hedgerow yarn also came with a little lavender sachet. The one that I got with this yarn, I guess I kind of confessed there a little bit that I might have some more Hedgerow yarn. There was a lavender sachet in there, and oh, it just smelled so good. And when I took these to work to show my coworkers, one of them, she actually did smell the yarn, and she said, "Ooh, that smells so good." I gave her the sachet. I thought she likes using the essential oils, so I knew she would enjoy the little sachet, and to kind of, keep in her office and just sniff every now and again. I have a little lavender sachet in one of my drawers at work too. Anyway, so this is one of my other stash enhancement items. This also has a purpose, so more to come on that later, I guess. That will be a next year project, because I'm pretty much full up as far as things that I want and need to do and finish for the holiday season. And let's face it, it's the middle of October. This is the holiday season, okay? The last bit of yarn stash enhancement that I got is a local yarn. She is from the woman, the dyer for this. She's out of Blue Hill, Maine. And I know probably a lot of you have heard of her, maybe have used her yarn before. But she was doing a truck show. Sorry, I kind of mashed that word all up. At my local yarn shop. And I got over in the nick of time. Of course, I got my dates confused, thought it was one weekend. It was actually the next weekend, and I had to work that Saturday. But I got out in the nick of time and was able to rush right over and meet a couple of my friends. And of course, we bought some yarn. So, but anyway, the dyer, I can't remember her name, but it is String Theory hand-dyed yarn. And I got some of her lovely caper sock, which is, let me see on the label here, 80% superwash merino, 10% cashmere, and 10% nylon. Confession, this is my first MCN. I'm so excited. And yeah, it's making me want to cast it on. I want something around my neck, like a cowl or a small scarf or something. I just haven't found the right pattern for it yet. But anyway, this colorway is called, I hope I pronounced this correctly, Oban, O-B-A-N. Anyway, it is beautiful. And I find the colors to be very autumnal, with the kind of muted browns and the reds and the orange, and there's even like some pink, some kind of mauvey pink, and maybe just a little hint of green in there as well. Oh, but it is so soft, and it has a light sheepy smell, which is fun. So yeah, this was definitely fun to go and see. Again, I caught it at the very end, and the weather was getting a little gray and overcast, and she was really worried that it was going to start raining. So she'd had this really pretty display, which I've seen pictures of on Facebook. She had taken it all down because, again, she didn't want to have a whole bunch of wet, woolly projects to have to deal with drying and everything. But that was fine, because the yarn kind of speaks for itself as far as the colors were just amazing, and it was so hard to behave myself and only pick one, but I did. So anyway, at the moment, that is all I can share for stash enhancement for yarn. I do have one other thing that I want to show you, and then this will probably be done. I do have some spinning. I love to knit, and I love the look of hand spun yarn. And when my girls and my best friend and I go to the Common Ground Fair, there is a group of women there called the Wednesday Spinners, and I can't tell you how much I enjoy watching them spin. I could just sit there all day and watch them. The people that I go with, my daughters and my best friend would probably let me for a while. But my girls are like, no, let's go see more. Let's go see the animals, blah, blah, blah. So I don't get to spend nearly as much time watching these women spin as I'd like to. But oh my word. And to see all their different spinning wheels. There's even a couple of ladies that use drop spindles. I just love to watch them. It just looks so relaxing. And I really want to try it. And I have, if anybody has seen my Instagram, I have put a couple pictures up of my beginnings. I am starting with the drop spindle. I bought one a few years ago at the Common Ground Fair. And I recently purchased some fiber from my local yarn shop to kind of get my feet in the water, dip my toes in the water for spinning. So, but this is going on. I just looked down. I'm over an hour. And again, not computer savvy. Probably won't be cutting any of this out. I really don't want to bore you people. So I'll save my spinning bit for next time. But I did purchase some stuff at this most recent Common Ground Fair to accompany the little bits that I already had. So anyway, but last thing on my list is part of my Christmas present from last year. My best friend has kind of made it a tradition now to get me a subscription to a lovely magazine, which in my opinion is more of a book. It is so well put together. I don't think of it as a magazine. I truly think of this as a book. But there are 2 issues each year, one in the spring, one in the fall, and I just received, well, she got it in her post on Friday, and she brought it to me Saturday, the second issue for this year, and that would be, ta-da, Making. This is the Lines edition. This is put out by Making Zine, which is Carrie Bostic Hogue. I did get a chance to meet her last summer when my best friend and I went on our little besties holiday. We had a great time, and Carrie was, and I'm sure she still is, a very nice lady. She had a studio in Southern Maine, which I know she has since, she's not in that space anymore. But she was super, super nice. And we popped in on the second day too, because I didn't quite buy enough yarn from her. Shocking, I know, right? Her daughter was there, her youngest daughter. Oh, what a little sweetheart. Anyway, so enough about that. This is Making Lines Edition. It is wonderful. It is absolutely wonderful. I love how not everything in here is knitting. There are knitting patterns, but there are sewing projects in here. There are embroidery projects in here. It's truly, truly a wonderful, wonderful book. There's even recipes, little recipes in here. Some of the editions, I don't think there was any in this one, but I have them all so far. In fact, the very first one, Flora, the first two issues I didn't get as a subscription. I bought Flora and my best friend Rose. You're going to hear a lot about Rose because she's my bestie and I love her. Rose bought me Fauna. Anyway, I bought Flora when we popped into Carrie's studio last year, and she signed it for me. Oh my gosh, I have a signed copy. So exciting. But anyway, some of them had like little coloring pages in there for coloring. There were little written pieces from makers in here that are very they're really nice to read. It's nice to hear what inspires other people, and to hear about their passions for their craft that they choose to do. So yeah, it's really a wonderful publication, and I adore knitting books. I mean, I love to read, but knitting books, sometimes I'll just sit down and I'll grab a few of them from my rather large knitting book library and I just can have a wonderful time just flipping through them. The photography, the projects, the colors, just I just love it all. So yeah, so this is the latest in my library edition. In the very back, it does tell us what the next issue will be. So of course, as soon as my best friend saw that, because she didn't open the packaging that it came in, she just brought it right over to me. She said, "Well, now you know what part of your Christmas present will be. Yay, my subscription for next year's issues of Making." So very excited. Again, lovely, lovely book. If you don't have it, I recommend these a lot. They are lovely. And again, lots of different things. Sewing, dyeing, like fabric dyeing, embroidery, crochet. There are like recipes in here. There's just so much for anyone who considers himself a maker, which I think we all do. And we all do. I think we all pretty much, at least the people like the podcasters and stuff that I follow, yes, some of them are strictly knitters, but some of them dabble in other things. Whether it's crochet, spinning, embroidery, a little baking on the side. We all have a few pictures on our Instagram of food. So, it's good times. So anyway, I think aside from the spinning that I'm pushing off to the next one, I think that's it. So I feel like this went a little smoother than I originally thought it would be, but I'm going to have to watch it and see. Hopefully I'm not making too many wacky faces. You kind of can't really watch yourself if you want to look like you're looking straight ahead. You're just kind of looking at that little camera dot at the top of the computer screen. So we'll have to wait and see. But anyway, thank you if you have watched, which you will only get to watch if I post this, which we'll have to wait and see. But if you have stayed here till the end and you've watched it all, I hope you have enjoyed it. I hope I haven't sounded too squeaky or crackly for you, and hopefully the lighting has been okay. I will work on that. But yeah, I guess I just kind of wanted to, again, dip my toes in the water and make a podcast because, again, I truly enjoy watching the other podcasts that I've mentioned in the beginning. And to all of those that I watch, you truly are an inspiration to me, obviously, because you've helped me pluck up the courage to sit down on my own and maybe start a podcast of my own. So I probably am not going to be somebody who's going to be as famous as, say, Jody and Tracy of the Grocery Girls, or Mina, or Danny, and nowhere even close to Susan B. Anderson. Because she's like way up here, and I'm like way down here. But again, the knitting community as a whole inspires me so much, and I just kind of wanted to reach out and say hello. So, hello, and now we come to the end, so I will say goodbye. Have a wonderful day. Bye-bye.